This episode is brought to you by Lone Wolf Paintball. They are an amazing online supplier and have been around since the beginning of the game as Michigan's premier paintball field and paintball supplier since 1987. They are rapidly expanding into the online retail space and supplying everything you need to be the best paintball player you can be. They have got it all. Head over to lonewolfpaintball.com and shop all of your favorite brands. And they also boast amazing customer service and will have this out to you with same-day shipping, which is amazing. It's always nice to know that your stuff is on its way immediately so you can start to use it that very next weekend of play. Check out their YouTube, Lone Wolf Paintball, and their Instagram at Lone Wolf PB, and stay up to date with all of their deals and sales. Play the Game podcast is immensely honored to have them on board, and we cannot wait for you guys to check out lonewolfpaintball.com and become a part of their community.
What's going on, PTG Nation? Thank you so much for tuning in. This episode, we have Nick Cucuzza and Arthur Dolzhansky. Both are some of the top creatives in the game. They've created some of the most epic documentaries. Formerly of Dirter, you guys might be familiar with all the Reckoning series. They were, the editors, videographers, and some of the creators behind many of those series that you guys all love, that we all loved growing up watching paintball. And most recently, Road to a Championship, and of course, the Immortal documentary with Tampa Bay Damage. So without further ado, we are going to hop in the show.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication.
And the crowd starts chanting Harmon.
Great shot by all the guys. So Tyler Harmon saved that game.
He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show, PTG, episode number 331. And today we are joined by two of the most influential storytellers in the history of paintball. If you have ever watched any legendary event recap, cinematic team video, they just dropped the new documentary that everybody is enjoying, obviously, or a moment that gave you chills. These guys are probably behind one of those scenes. Please help me welcome Nick Cucuzza and Arthur Dolzhansky to the show. It's great to see you guys.
Let's go.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you for that intro. That was sweet.
Yeah, man. Well, you
Tyler's
guys
intros have been just absolutely out of this world, but that one was much deserved from both of you. Absolutely, the work you guys have put in to this industry, to all the different stories that you guys have told. They inspired Tyler and myself, when we were young kids. The documentaries that you guys were making and working on were really inspirational. It's very important pieces that you guys are doing for the community, and so we're excited to have you guys on and introduce you guys to the the masses, the paintball world that might not know who the people behind the scenes are.
Yeah.
Well,
awesome.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having us on. And it's really an honor to be on PTG. And it's funny, I just wanted to say, like yesterday, I was at a paintball field and I was like, oh yeah, we were talking, met some guys, didn't even know them. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to be on PTG tomorrow. And I was like, holy crap, like, I can't even believe I'm saying that right now. It like took me a second to be like, hold up. Like, yeah, I can't believe I'm actually, going to be on the show.
We're going to have some fun, man. We're going to have some fun.
Yeah, it's good.
I've been watching you guys a lot
crazy.
too. What you guys do is great. I'm still finishing the Himmin episode. He's great too.
Oh,
Actually,
man.
really excited for his team and their story. Kind of see
Yeah.
what happens with that too.
He's a heavy hitter right there. Yeah, and he's not playing around at all. No games played with that, man.
He's the best. He used to let me mic him up all the time. Him and mic'd up is the best, and he always lets me give it to him. He never hesitates. Always lets me give him the mic.
And he doesn't give a shit either. He's just like, fucking let it rip. Yeah, that's why people enjoy listening to him. He's pretty raw, and whatever he feels, he usually says. You definitely usually know how he's feeling. That's for sure.
Oh,
Yeah. Himmin has no filters, and I love that. He knows we'll never like paint him in a bad light either. Like, sometimes some things don't need to be on the camera. But,
Yeah.
But a lot of it is really great stuff. And he's usually he gets his points across, and he'll use whatever way is necessary to get his points across usually.
That's the boss right there. Let's kind of get, for everybody that doesn't know, these two individuals have truly shaped the entire paradigm of videography and helped to be just front runners and getting our sport in front of so many people's eyes and new viewers. So kind of give them a taste of your backstory, how you got involved in paintball. We'll start with you, Nick, and then we'll head over to you, Art, and just you know, how this journey all started so long ago. And I think you two both have history. I know we were talking before the show.
We have
You're
a lot
like,
of history.
yeah, we were hanging out in the dorm room before this whole paintball journey jumped off, you know? So
me
let's
and
kind of
Arthur
throw
are
it back.
best friends. Yeah. And that, I mean, for me, I guess, because I was always kind of interested in video with like handy cams and stuff. But like back in, I'd say even 2005, me and my dad and my uncles, we would have like 3 Tippmann 98s, and I had the Tippmann A5. I felt really cool. So we would go in the woods. Yeah, we would go in the woods and play with that. And then by the time I went to college, I ended up going to Ohio University from Brooklyn, New York. So they all ended up calling me Brooklyn when I went to the field, because they used to make fun of me with the white beater and the gold chain. So I used to just come there with a speedball gun. I didn't know what I was doing that much. I didn't really know too much on the competitive paintball side. But I believe it was 2000. I believe it was like either 2008 Nationals or 2009 that I ended up going with them to like the college nationals. And then I was just filming them through the nets on my Handycam. And that's what kind of like inspired me to want to play, like, you know, really get into playing competitive paintball, because I was exposed to this whole new scene. And then every time, you know, in college, you had 3 months usually off, you went back home. And every time in those 3 months, I would play at indoor and NYC paintball. I guess that's why I could show some of these things. Like Arthur, like even visited me at that time. Me and Arthur and NYC paintball.
2009. Some indoor field in like Brooklyn, New York, I think.
Yeah.
But it was funny. We started calling him Brooklyn. You know, Nick showed up to the paintball field. We had a paintball practice with Ohio University, and he shows up. He has like an E-Tech 3 or something like that. He has a white wife beater on, big gold chain, but he was running into the snake off the break, like diving head first. You know, like he already had the kind of like the fundamentals a little bit, you know, down. And I guess I came from Nick playing sports, you know, and baseball or whatever beforehand. But, you know, we were like, okay, he's athletic. He's not afraid to get up there. He wants to get in on the action. So, you know, naturally Nick progressed from there. You know, he started off very new, and before you know it, he was a starter on our team. Like, and he was going against people that were, you know, been playing for years and years. And Nick took it like, okay, I'm going to get on the team. I'm going to get a spot to play. And
work ethic.
And I want to say that for any like new player coming into the sport, like honestly, I do feel like the gap in paintball is like 1 to 2 years. But like if you feel like you are behind some of your peers, like it just means you have to put in the work twice as hard to kind of get to where they are. And you have to be a sponge and keep taking in like all the experience they have. Like if your mind is shut, like you're not.
Yeah, Cucuzza, I want to add to that, because you're so right. Paintball's an interesting sport where most people play 2 days a week, and that's considered a lot. Like if you're a divisional player and you play Saturday and Sunday, every Saturday and Sunday, that in our sport is considered a lot, because it's not as accessible as a basketball court or going and throwing the football and doing ladder drills and things of that nature, or playing pool or golf, whatever it is. It's usually pretty difficult to get to a paintball field, and they're usually only open on the weekends. That's kind of changing now. A lot of fields, the tournament fields are open during the week. But if you're a player that can find a way to play 4 or 5 days a week, you can speed up the process so much and catch up to people so quickly, because our game hasn't gotten to the point to where it's easy to train every single day. And a lot of people, especially in divisional, aren't. A lot of divisional teams, they'll play 1 day a weekend, you know, and they think that's a lot. You know, they play every Sunday or every Saturday. So you're absolutely right. Like if there's a big skill gap and you want to get good at this, it is kind of a unique situation right now where if you put in the work, you will catch up to people.
Yeah. And it all, honestly, I mean, I guess there's some athleticism that gets involved in it. But in my opinion, I feel like almost anybody, in my opinion, can be a pro player if they just work hard enough at it. As long as you have the right mindset and you are working hard enough, you know, I'd say within a 5-year gap, you would probably be there, in my opinion, if you're trying hard enough, I think. Like, I mean, you gotta correct me if I'm wrong on that. Like, obviously, being a top tier pro player, that's different.
Of course.
But you could start to get up the ranks, and then it all depends on who your mentors are, how much you're able to take in. And I mean,
if your goal is just to make any of the pro teams, I don't disagree with that. I do think if you were to do it in 5 years, you would have to be able to make up for the lack of experience with some sort of athletic ability, you know? But yeah, in that range, like 5 to 8 years, maybe. Absolutely. I mean, Sergey was a great, you know, case study on this. He was Fedorov's roommate, and Fedorov, you know, basically took him under his wing, got him into paintball, and over the course of like 4 or 5 years, turned him into an absolute stud, and he made the Russian Legion, you know, and then became one of the better players in the league. So I agree, you know, and that's a situation where they were able to play 4 or 5 days a week, you know. But certainly, yeah.
Nick kind of did that. He made, I don't know if you have the photo of it.
Here, I was going to show you this. So, so this is in Brooklyn, New York, in my backyard. I made a
like row houses
arena, and I had 2 bunkers. But this is in my backyard in Brooklyn, New York.
That's your backyard? So I have that photo.
This lasted 2 weeks. This lasted about 2 to 3 weeks because the neighbors would call the police nonstop, and the police would nonstop be at my house. Because I picked the quiet gun. I had like a DM5. It was super quiet. But I picked this bucket to shoot at. So every time I would hit the bucket, it would just be ba-boom, ba-boom.
Yeah.
Like, oh my
Bro,
God.
that is so sick. Look at this. Oh my God. Talk about like Rocky style. This is like Rocky action right here.
And Nick's dedication was like unmatched. So we had a spring break when we were in college, and I went up to New York with him for spring break. And, you know, I wanted to like explore New York, see what New York's about. Nick just wanted to immediately make this paintball field in his backyard, set it up. We're doing snap shooting drills like the whole time that I'm there, you know, like we spent the whole day making the field, and, you know, but
at this time, Arthur was so much better than me too at that time too.
Yeah,
so like he was teaching me a lot.
I was a better paintball player, but I go snap shoot against Nick, and he's snapping me out every time. Like, because he was training in his backyard, snapping cones, like I couldn't snap against him. Like after that, it was like, okay, you're on the field. Like, you know what I mean? Now you just got to know the game.
Yeah. Then it takes a while because the mental game wasn't still there. Like you had it took another year for me to even get the mental game down. And then like the next year I was like in the right spot. I feel like to kind of start, still my mental game was to get in there, but you know, I was able to at least like hang with the guys and stuff like that. And even
there's something really important here though that I want to highlight. It's obviously you guys love paintball, and I love this story because these are the guys behind the lens that are capturing everything for us in this modern day and age, right? So it's really special, and it's so important that the listeners and everybody tuned in knows how much you guys care about the game. It's not just some disassociated presentation that you're putting on. You guys love paintball, and I think that you're absolutely right. Shooting the cones is one thing, and you can become really proficient with your fundamentals, being sound with the mechanics and making sure there's nothing sticking out when you snap shoot. You're dialed in, you're really quick on the approach to your shot. You make the shot and you get back to safety. All those types of things can be worked on, but it's a whole nother ball game when you have another player shooting against you, and then you add on top of that the game, like the actual thing we have to accomplish and all the details that go into that. But I think it was really cool, obviously the passion and the heart that you put into, and you got everybody go subscribe and check this video out over here on the YouTube, because that picture that you just had up on the screen there it's timeless, man. And like Marcelo said, it's kind of like Rocky, like in the dungeon. You guys are just back there, you know, working, putting in the work for the love of the game. It's amazing, man.
No, we had an awesome time doing that. And even I was listening to one of you guys' last podcast where people were talking about like, because learning how to play with your left hand or right hand, I guess, whichever hand you're dominant, is kind of like a hard concept for people to like understand. I remember your guys said like brushing his teeth with your left hand, or just doing different things with your left hand. For me, I won't go into the story too much, but basically I got really angry. I just like returned something for like $100. And then I got a $150 parking ticket going back in. I had some anger issues at this time. So I ended up punching a wall, and it was like a concrete wall. So I got a boxer's fracture in my right hand. And then it didn't stop me from playing, though. So I would wrap up my right hand in a towel, and then I played with my left hand for 2 months, and they would call me the one-arm bandit. I would play with the Wolfpack guys. And that's how I learned how to play with my left hand, because I had 1 month where I couldn't use my right hand.
Yo, hey, everybody, fear Cucuzza on the field. Fear that man. He will.
No, I'm not good. You got to fear Arthur now. Arthur's and this I ain't gonna go into it much more, but this is funny. This is like
We got another pick.
2010.
Oh,
yeah, this
Pando.
is 2010 with Pando. It was after we lost nationals, but it was like the one moment where like I said something silly or something, and Pando was laughing.
Put that back up there. I
whatever.
want to see that
Yeah.
again. Let's see that pick. Throw it up there. So we got
Dave
the
Pando.
interview. Yep.
Owner of Level
Yeah,
Up
Pando is
Sports.
another legend.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is.
Love,
Yeah, it's
love
amazing.
Panda.
Oh,
Yeah,
He
he's done a
definitely
lot.
got my
hold on.
start.
Hold on.
Actually,
Put that. Why does that guy look like Oliver Lang?
it is Oliver.
That's
Lang.
it. Yeah.
Oh my God, Oliver's interviewing you guys.
Yeah, he was
That's
the host
great.
of College
That's
Nationals
great.
that year.
That's
Yeah.
great. Did
And
you
what's
say that?
funny,
I missed
actually-
that. You did.
Actually, what's funny is that
Funny.
well, because I feel like I was always into filming paintball. I mean, obviously, we started just giving the handy cam to whoever was ready to film at like there's Arthur too.
Yeah, it's a
Some-
great,
yeah.
great photo as
Playing
well.
photo.
Arthur
Wow.
ballin'.
A few years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, Arthur is
NBS
really
League. I played yesterday actually too.
You guys are
Attaboy.
hoopers, man.
Yeah.
You guys are
Yeah.
hoopers.
No, I wish I
We're
could
paintball
play.
nerds through and through. I mean, I've had a gun in my hand this whole time, this whole interview.
Yo, that's crazy.
I've actually had two guns in my hand this whole time.
Yo,
Yeah,
Get
Arthur,
outta
do you
here.
have
Look
all
at
of them around? He has a whole collection.
so real
Attaboy.
quick, Tyler kind of touched on this, but again, I think the reason Tyler and I were so excited to do this show, and we're always excited to do these kind of shows with industry people, air quotes, you guys are technically industry people now, is because I think the common paintball player assumes that industry people, whether it's Go Sports or the NXL or, whoever's running the show that we're putting on and the companies behind the scenes, they think that it's just some big corporation and people that maybe don't care about the sport, but that is not the case. Pretty much every single person involved on the business side of paintball is a paintball player. You're one of us. We're all in this brotherhood together, and that's why the sport is so special. And I think it's also why it's so important to support these things, because you guys do it because you love the sport, and that's why you guys are spread so thin. You guys wear so many different hats: producers, directors, videographers. Like, you're doing this, you're doing that for this company, for that company, and that's how almost every single paintball person that works on the business side is, and so I think the common person doesn't really understand that, because it does look like this larger than life entity, but it's really not. We're all paintball players, and we really are in this thing together. And so it's awesome to show the side of you guys, as paintball players and competitors. Just really enjoy it.
No, awesome. Thank you so much for that.
That's
And
the
I-
roots.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I actually do want to thank Panda though, because I don't know if you guys remember, Panda used to work for APG magazine, and before that, I was always actually making stuff with Cucuzza Productions, and with APG magazine, that's when he was like, "Oh, we could get you on the PSP field," and then like my first event, I got to film PSP was like MAO, I think 2009 or whatever. And then after that, we just kept doing it. We did APG for a while, and then APG I think folded or something. But then I was still doing Cucuzza Productions. Camille would always get me like 3 media passes to get on the field, so I would give like 2 to their friends, and we would have all these different cameras on the field, and it'd be like a little PSP promo. And then it was actually Jerry Desferio that I think
Shout
it
out
was
Jerry.
Dirt or Rob.
Legend.
Yeah, Dirt or Rob approached me. I think it was 2010 World Cup, and he was like, "Hey, what do you want to do this?" And I wasn't sure at the time. And then I was just talking to Jerry, and he was like, "You'd be stupid if you don't, do this with Rob." And I was like, "Okay, let me do that." And then that was like at the time, I think the last event I was playing, it was like D2. Me and Arthur have the 3 third places in NX and D3 NXL, and we always lost to the Revo team that is like Omar and them, and they were always the ones who beat us in D3 X Ball. So it was funny, and it was always a close match. We lost in overtime or by 1 point. We hated them, but they were a great team to play. And then after that, I felt like the shift started happening, where I was like, okay, like maybe this is where I can make more of my mark on the sport. Like, and then I started just doing that with Dirter, and then from there, that was in 2011. I did Dirter up into 2014, and then throughout that process, this is where Arthur came in too. When Arthur could take the story from there on how he kind of got into the video side of things.
Yeah, getting into video, I was just so Nick was always filming, you know, when we were in school and stuff, and I was always playing, and then I had like a injury type of thing at one of the PSP events. Took some time off playing, and Nick was like, you know, you want to come help me film some of these teams? You know, you can start filming. He was doing like the semi-pro or the Division 1 a lot before. You know, he was filming raw footage, getting teams footage, and I kind of came in, started filming like the Division 1 teams, and kind of, you know, totally was just thrown into it. You know, I knew paintball, I knew the game, where to follow the action kind of things. And like, I wasn't afraid of getting shot, which is a big thing, you know, for media guys getting into the game. Yeah. Like, you know, we're going to get shot. We have to wear masks, things like that. So like, you have to kind of get past all of that, you know, first things first, you know, be comfortable with getting shot essentially. But we would go out there and just, you know, I was crazy younger, you know, didn't mind taking thousands of shots throughout the event. And, basically just started.
Is it that like how many times would you say you guys get?
No, hundreds.
Okay,
I'm sure you've gotten better though at finding the angle with also avoiding certain things.
No. What the thing is, we give you a gap. I start giving you guys a gap. So like sometimes we used to, at least for me, I used to be crazy. I used to go right on your stream and where you would shoot. And in my opinion, I feel like that was almost kind of rude in a way, because like from your perspective too, you're starting to feel a little bit bad because you see the camera dude just getting railed. So what I start doing now, so like, I mean, some people won't give a damn, but like some people are just like, okay, I'm going to start grouping a little bit because I'm just railing this dude. But like, I try to offset just a teeny bit so that like if you are shooting this guy, like you should be right in between us. So it's like trying to make your shot even like sharper. That's what I try to do. But sometimes you end up right on the line there, and you just got to hold it for a sec. There's no point in moving.
Balls are always going to hit you. They're going to, you know, you can stand off to the side. They're going to come off the bunker and whiz into you. You stand on the back of the net.
Damn bounce shots.
All the balls going off the net are hitting your back. So it is
the sides are the worst. Oh, the skimmers on the sides. Those ones get you.
That's one thing I will say I have not gotten used to getting shot. You know, it still hurts just as much. You know, it's not
Arthur wears way less than me too. He's crazy. I mean, I'm all paired up on things. Arthur just goes out there shorts. I don't know.
I'd be in a night uniform if I was doing
it's definitely finding a balance of staying cool enough to where you're not completely overheating, and at the same time having enough protection to kind of help you out. But
damn. Do you guys remember? Do you remember your first videos you ever shot? Do you remember yours, Art? Your first paintball video?
So Nick actually edited. Like I didn't become an editor. I didn't learn editing for a little bit. Before I was just filming, and I was kind of Nick's assistant editor for a while on doing a lot of the Dirter production stuff. I would go through all the footage. I would
he would organize.
I would organize, label all the footage, cut it up, cut out all the stuff that he wouldn't be using to make his process of editing the Dirter stuff easier. So when he was going in, he kind of had everything already set up, cut. And then slowly after that, you know, I started getting more and more comfortable with that kind of back end editing. And then I just started making my own kind of highlight video. I think it was a highlight video that I made the first one of, like, it was PB Nation days, you know, so it would be like an event highlight type of video. And
didn't it have a couple of 100,000 views? Wasn't it like a World Cup? It was a 2011 World Cup or something?
Yeah, there was like some World Cup one that got a million views or something. It was like PB Nation's #1
real
video.
Quick, something I you know, we didn't, real quick, guys, for the listeners also, just so everybody knows, Nick Cucuzza is the one who did pretty much the entire, you shared footage with everyone, but as far as editing, you did the entire Damage documentary that was just released, Immortal, and Arthur, a year behind Road to a Championship. So just so the people know, like, what you guys have currently done as well, we're sitting here talking to, you know, two of the guys that are responsible for some very great you know, content that has been recently put out.
Yeah.
Well, we
haven't gotten into anything new so far yet.
We both worked together on those too. I mean, and the thing is that, like, I mean, we could get back to it later on, but like literally, I think Marcel, I sent you an interview. You were like, "Oh, I wanted this old interview of that I shot with you when you were on Impact," and I sent you that interview. after I sent you that interview, I was going through my footage on that hard drive, and this 48 terabyte hard drive that Arthur sent me crashed with all of the old events. And I'm in Costa Rica, so so it isn't that easy getting this information back from Arthur. And then I just made the choice at that point. That's why I was like, no, maybe I'm just gonna make Dallas and Cup first, and then I'm gonna go back and do the rest of it. And Arthur was a trooper, because Arthur took out time to like get me that footage the first time. And then I had to send Arthur a hard drive again, and he had to go through and get me all of the footage again, because he had all the footage from my first events and everything. And that whole scene with CJ, that was like all Arthur too. That emotional moment with CJ when he got like the penalty, and that's it. Yeah, that was like all Arthur in that moment. Like,
well, you guys are always helping each other. I'm sure it just like it's team ball.
Yeah,
you know?
Even when I'm not filming for that, even when I'm not filming for Go Sports, I'm always filming.
Yeah, we're all on team paintball at the end of the day. So
that's right. And I'm sure that, you know, as a collective, the media gang, you know, everyone scratches each other's back, and everyone's working together to make this thing pop. Everyone wants to obviously be successful in their own right, but the big vision is how can we help paintball get in front of more eyeballs? That's really what we're all trying to do.
Yeah, and I do got to give a shout out to Verbal and Danny Link and NDQ, because like they definitely sent me. I mean, they didn't even ask for anything for that footage. They all helped me with my documentary too, in that sense. Because once me and Arthur figured out that we were going to be making a story on the same thing, like it was kind of a weird feeling for me and Arthur, because usually we work together on things. So it was like we were almost like, in a way, we were trying not to show each other what we were making, so that we didn't influence what each other were going to be doing. So it was hard for us, and we decided we would just not use each other's World Cup footage, so that we didn't have overlap, at least on that sense. But I don't believe that's ever going to happen. I don't believe that's ever going to happen again, to be honest. I feel like we'll always be working together on things. But it was also cool for me to, you know, like go out and do this documentary on my own too, because I feel like, you know, in Chicago, like they didn't need me, and I was originally not going to go. And then I saw Marcelo get picked up by them. I was like, I called Joey. I was like, I don't know, this is kind of interesting. I want to, because I already felt the event before that Damage could win. So I was like, okay, now that I have Marcelo, like I think they should probably win this event. So I called Joey, and I was like, let me do it. And then obviously, you know, it had the letdown. Joey's like, let's talk. And he's like, send me the next event. And then at Cup, I was actually supposed to film with Go Sports, but, you know, Darren was like, you know what, I think you should keep on doing, you know, the Damage story. I think you should finish this out. And then end up playing out perfectly. So, you know, had all that not happened, like, that, I mean, we would have probably worked together on making, you know, the Go Sports one, but there wouldn't have been an immortal kind of story. And on that one, I was kind of like off the leash, like I had so many curse words in. I was wondering how people were gonna take that, but I was kind of taking the approach of just showing it as like raw as possible, and kind of letting people seeing it for what it was, in a way. And I know I usually filter out a lot of that stuff, but I was like, you know what, like, I wanted people to feel like they were in your huddles the whole time.
Well, that's the same thing in the NFL. Yeah. If we had all the audio down there on the field of what these guys are saying, it would probably be pretty wild. You know, it's just the way sports go, and you captured it masterfully. And the both of you, I think, are foreshadowing the future of media for paintball as we move into, you know, these years coming up. I think there's an opportunity for what you have created with this kind of style to put together a group of them, you know. And I was talking with somebody about this recently. If you followed 7 players the entire season, and then it all culminated to the World Cup, and one of those 7 players, you know, is going to win the World Cup, you know, it's like a handful that are at the top. So even if you just start with, let's say 5, cover 5 players, and one of those 5 players is going to win the World Cup. And you get each one of their journeys, and then the final episode is the World Cup, and somebody wins it in dramatic fashion. I think you could sell something like that to a major company, and it would be successful. I really do believe that, because there are truly captivating stories in paintball right now, and you guys are foreshadowing the future of that, I think, with this style that you created this season. Both of those documentaries were masterpieces, and they really make you want to keep watching. It's just like any Netflix show that you get hooked on. You can't turn it off. I want to see what's going to happen next. I want to know these battles and these fights and these stories, right? And we talk about that tirelessly on the show, is the stories, and that's what you guys have just completely encapsulated and set out into the world. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's these people. I want to know these people. Like even, the Impact documentary, the Damage one. These guys are my own teammates, but still hearing how they're doing these interviews and kind of the behind the scenes stuff, like it's really enjoyable to watch and listen, because that's the stuff that people really relate to. The paintball is the paintball. Paintball's great. Sports are sports. The football is the football. Golf is golf. That's all great and all. It's cool to see great stuff. But the stories of the human, I think, is what's captivating to most people. And my apologies, guys. I didn't mean for this to jump into talking about this. We can get back to this, these documentaries in the future. I just wanted to paint the picture for the listeners of exactly, the work that you guys do, have currently done and all of that, But yeah, again, these stories, and if we go back to like the Dirt Reckoning series and all of that with these interviews, like that's the type of content I hear it all the time from players, all the time, whether it's divisional players or like newer pro players or even, established pro players, that the Reckoning series is like their favorite paintball stuff of all time, and everyone has their own like favorite Reckoning series. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The Reckoning series is like a lot of the kids that I've coached and worked with, they bring up moments from when I was on Iron Man, and they're like, this was my favorite one, this episode, and this interaction you had with so-and-so. Like that stuff is really powerful, really potent.
Oh, wow.
And
awesome
has driven. Absolutely. If you guys have not heard that, then that's kind of a shame, because that work is inspiring generations of players. And now, the Reckoning series is obviously dated, so I'm sure new players today might not be watching those, but this content that you guys are continuing to create is going to do the same thing for a whole nother generation. So it's really important. It is, none of us get paid a ton of money. None of the players are getting paid millions of dollars. This is like the, biggest thing we have. When there's a documentary about a certain player, or, that is what makes them kind of larger than life, and is what excites the next generation and gives them something to look up to and to aspire to be. And so it's more important than we think. And just really excited to see you guys continue rocking and rolling with it.
I'm so glad you.
I'm really sorry. Can we take a 5-second break?
You got yeah.
I could talk.
I gotta pause. Or I'll be right back.
You're good.
I could talk.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
There ain't
I'll
no
talk
pause.
about the Reckoning.
We got no
talk
pauses.
about the Reckoning.
Here, I'll pull him off camera just in case there's
there we go.
Who knows if he has to. Yeah.
We don't pause
I'll
around
talk
here.
about the Reckoning a little bit, because for the Immortal documentary, I feel like that was the first time probably since 2014 that I kind of, I was like, I'm going to do this, the Dirt Reckoning style. And I was like, and people haven't seen that style in a while. I know I've made documentaries. I made like Prelude to a Championship back. I don't remember. I think it was 2020. I know you were in it. I did the top 5 teams, but that was kind of one of my last pieces for the most part. But yeah, for that one, I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to do this like full Dirt Reckoning style. I did my homework on all my questions that I was going to bring to you guys, specific moments. I watched every single webcast of every single match, that whole year, and like combined with some of my footage to, give you guys the moments. But I do think there's a balance where, with the Dirt Reckoning series, I feel like I did show a lot of the reason I guess a lot of pro players maybe liked it is because I feel like I tried to like educate through it in a way too, because I feel like when you guys are breaking down a moment, you guys are really explaining what's going on in your head in that moment and how you're breaking it down. And like, that isn't always what people get to see when you're tying it all together.
True.
And then I had these elements with, I just always loved breaking down, specific moments. I'd say towards the end of the Reckoning series, I was maybe overdoing it, where sometimes Arthur was, he was right too, because I would be like, oh, you shot these 2 guys down the Dorito side. And I would have the guy talk about how he shot these 2 guys down the Dorito side. But like, really wasn't that important. He just shot 2 guys down the Dorito side. But it was like an important moment in this match. Like, yes, like you should do it. But sometimes I just happen to talk about this one time someone got bunkered, and like it doesn't, it's irrelevant. Like, it's cool to show those things, but like you only need to talk about it. But when it's like, you know, a moment that like changes a match or like either builds towards a narrative. Like for you guys on the documentary, I was trying to show only moments that I felt like either was like showing a lack of chemistry problems or building chemistry in the damage documentary. And if it didn't do either of those effects, like I had Holiday talking about like colliding with Blake Yarba in the center in the AC event, but like really it had no effect on like the match or anything. So I was like, let me just show this. I'm not gonna go into this too much because it just would have taken people a little bit off task. But yeah, I feel like I need a better combination of like, because Arthur showed the paintball field of Jason and like kind of this whole awesome moment, like showing like this huge business that Jason's built up and like it's like his baby. And honestly, probably a big reason, you know, he's like had the year that he's had because it's been all paintball for Jason Edwards, you know, and he's built this amazing foundation, this amazing field. And I feel like that definitely plays a part into him, you know, wanting to show off at the events too. And like, you know, in a way. So like,
no, I think you're absolutely right. Yeah. You
have to have a good combination of like the outside and inside paintball moments, because you need to show that outside paintball moment, but then you also should be showing this moment of Jason Edwards, like, you know, breaking down this like amazing point that he had and like showing the paintball, you'd like to call it paintball IQ when, remember when I showed you, you made the change with Jason to start shooting Fedorov's or get both out of the back center.
Right.
And because Fedorov kept trapping you guys, and that ended up being the game changer in that match. And what was cool is that Arthur did something kind of similar in his documentary about the same thing on a different perspective. So it was like funny if you end up tying them both together, you got two very like different perspectives, and it was like two different perspectives on the same moment, which was I thought was really cool. But they were both talking about the same thing in different ways.
I mean, Fedorov was just giving us fits, and he was like the only you know, sometimes you really get sucked into if something's working for you the whole tournament and then all of a sudden in a match it's not working. It's very easy to say it's going to start working. Sometimes you got to just fully abort, and that's really what happened. You know, we weren't able to connect on Fedorov, and so having two in that back center at World Cup, like he would get really far down the Dorito side to get to like the Dorito 3 pretty quick, because if he makes it to the 1, you can't stop the next couple gaps. And then all of a sudden he's in the 3 wrapping on you, and his first ball is insane. So if he wouldn't shoot me, he would shoot Jason in the pack, you know, and because we're both doubled back there. And it was like, let's stop trying to shoot him on the break. It's just not working. He's running great routes. It's like, it is what it is. Let's go to another spot to where we can stop the secondary fill. And sure enough, the very next point went to that spot and was able to shoot the secondary fill. You know, he thought he had the freedom to kind of just keep going. And that was definitely a turning point in that match, because he was playing lights out. He was playing on fire. Fedorov is a hard player to stop.
That's
you guys had an awesome event too. And it was I mean, not saying I wanted them to win that and change your guys' story, but like I felt like I was said. I was kind of hoping Tauntauns got one win that year. They were so close twice.
Yeah.
The one time,
I know.
I mean, I feel so bad. The one time
that's horrible. Axel
had
that.
The one time Axel slipped, like when he was running for the thing, I felt so bad.
That was heartbreaking. Yeah,
heartbreaking.
I think they slipped. I think another guy slipped the next event. I made a joke with Axel. He was like, "Oh, fuck you." I was like, "Dude, you guys got to practice not slipping. What's going on?"
Jesus.
He's like, "Oh, God."
Oh, that's a great thing to say, Cucuzza. See, this is why Mouse still kicks you sometimes when you're in the huddle. You want to share that story?
Oh no! Oh yeah. So yeah, in the huddle, I don't know what happened, but he doesn't kick me, but he definitely gives me a little nudge now. But the first time he did actually kick me in the huddle, I feel like it was an AC Dallas huddle. It had to be after they got knocked out. He just saw me down there, and I just felt like a quick nudge in my back. I was like, "What the fuck is that?" I'm like, "This dude is just taking aggression out on me because he just lost."
God.
He can be very abusive. He's an.
And then ever since then, now when he sees me in huddle, he has to give me like a nudge out of like tradition or something,
letting you know.
And now he feels like he's not gonna win if he doesn't kick me, so he makes sure that he kicks me before every time because it's just what he does.
Dude. Hey, have you guys heard about possible shift to like a yellow ball that they've been talking about? What do you guys think about that? Having a yellow, almost like a tennis ball color.
Yellow is great. Yellow
Yeah?
shows up
Yeah,
on
that would be
camera
awesome.
really well, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
there we go.
I think-
Verified.
I mean, for me, absolutely. When I see, when I filmed some paint with yellow
Yeah.
balls, yeah, it's been great.
It
Well, I think we're
pops.
going to be stained in pink again, aren't we?
I think
Only
we are.
for-
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I believe
I will.
I believe
say
they're
I
trying to
do
make
not
the
like the
transition.
pink, but-
Yeah, the pink's
I'm-
terrible. Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
No, I
Yellow,
believe they're
yeah.
making the transition. That's why they left it open in the rule book that they can change mid-season the color. I believe Tom was trying to help the paint companies because they already have a lot of the product to make
That's
the
right.
pink ball. So they want to, once they finish that, I do believe they'll be moving to a yellow shell. Don't mark my words. We've said some stuff on the show because we got intel from the inside before, and then it turns out to not be true. One of the things actually I would like to talk about is the no, we're not actually going to get into that. We'll talk about it after
you can
Tampa.
talk.
Well, that's
Yeah.
in
No.
the Discord. And actually,
Yeah,
I want to get you guys in our Discord chat rooms as well. They're a lot of fun. So if you guys would be open to that, I'll send you guys obviously
Oh, yeah,
on the
of
house
course.
and have you guys roll through and have some fun.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
of course.
go.
I
All
love
right,
that.
for sure. Yeah, and I want to pick your guys' brains about inspiration as well. Maybe I'll start with you, Art, and like, where does your inspiration come for what you do? And it's obviously like an art form. It's very artistic. You got to tie a lot of things together, but kind of speak on your inspiration for capturing all these moments.
So, inspiration as far as how it's on video, like a lot of just the professional sports teams documentaries, I try to get our stuff to, look as professional and big and grand as possible, and so I get inspiration from things that I see, other sports documentaries and stuff, but really a lot of my motivation and inspiration comes from a lot of the players and knowing that we are helping inspire them to, keep playing paintball. They're having a lot of fun. We're making fans out of the teams. When I see a comment on YouTube or something saying, "Oh, I'm buying a Tampa Bay Damage jersey now," like that to me is like, okay, that sums it all up. They obviously enjoyed what they watched. They resonated with the players, the teams. We gained a fan, and that's like an all-encompassing, win for us essentially. When someone says, "I'm going to buy a jersey," that's awesome.
Yeah.
And a lot of the, the players, when you don't have, like, you can't play paintball sometimes Monday through Friday, so when they have extended content that they can watch and get into during the week and keep engaged in paintball, like, that's awesome too. So I get a lot of kind of inspiration from that, just keeping it going. And shout out to, I think the paintball community is one of the greatest, loudest people, communities on the internet. I think, Nike puts up an ad, has a paintball goggle in it. That whole ad is just filled with paintball players. You know what I mean? Like, we are well connected, and I think like we're growing like really strong roots. Like our sport, like I think that's really big. Is like the groundwork right now. Like if we can go off topic a little bit, like like where are we trying to position ourselves as like paintballers and the sport, and like there's a balance of, are we playing war out there, with guns, are we violent? Are we trying to put it on these dudes, let's freaking put the hurt on them? Or is this a family friendly, fun sport that we're having? It's a little bit of, it's both.
It's both.
Exactly.
It's both.
It's both. So the way that we are presenting it to the public, it has to be looked at. We can't present it one way or the other. I think,
I think real quick, Arthur. I really think the best part about paintball is how strategic and how tactical it is. The mental side of it. So it's a way to express your strategy. However you want to define, all that. That's what I think it is. It's a very strategical game. And of course, fundamentals and all that play into account. But to me, the strategy behind it, that's usually what amazes people when I am discussing with somebody that has, they have no clue what paintball is, and I talk to them about tournament paintball, and like, well, what makes somebody better than someone else? Can you shoot faster or run fast? I'm like, no, we actually all shoot the same speed, and yada yada. It's the strategy, the thinking, understanding how to play situations and game plans. And people are like, you guys have game plans, like you actually deploy different game plans. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, each event there's a new field that you have to build a strategy for, and then you take this strategy to the event and you compare it against 19 other teams' strategy that they've been working on. Like, that is the fascinating part of the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that type of paintball, in professional paintball, in X-ball, and how we have it, exemplifies the best skill set in paintball, right? Like the way that we're playing it, you're going to see who is the best paintball players out there. It's very, very athletic, very sports oriented. It's not the only kind of paintball, though. There's a lot of people that play scenario or rec ball, and that's also great for paintball as a whole.
It's a huge scene too.
Yeah, I love seeing that.
Yeah,
even if there's a 2 times increase in rec players, that's freaking amazing, because they're gonna funnel into the competitive side. Once people get to a paintball field, and they need to have a great experience at their own pace. In a way, I think it's great that people can go and play woods ball their first time, because a lot of people, when they think of paintball, they may know about X ball and speed ball and stuff, but they want to go play in the woods. They want to go play woods ball and get into that kind of like battle warfare type of thing.
And I want to say that's so important. I didn't start on airball. I started out in the woods. And it captivated me. I was hooked. Absolutely hooked. It was so much fun. There was big games. Some of my first paintball games were like these massive hundreds and hundreds versus hundreds of people, and it was what hooked me. And did you guys see Marky and Rocky Cagnoni?
I saw that clip in the swamp. That was fun,
dude. That kind of stuff that's the roots of paintball. And I think it also needs to be made clear to a viewer when they watch. Listen, this is the most elite style in the world that you're watching. We highly encourage, if you're getting into the game, go play at your local big games and the big fields and have some fun. If you want to get into the speed, the faster style, join us in the tournament style. But you're right. It needs to be made clear. And shout out to, I think they were at Black Ops out there having some fun. That was some amazing content. Even stuff like that, like watching that. I was in the trenches with Rocky. Fun. Oh man, and like they had.
You were there. Live. You were there.
Well, I felt like I was, because I was on the live on HK. HK does the live with Marky, so I was like in it with them on the live, and just things like that as well for documenting paintball is amazing. All the live footage that we're getting nowadays as well has been tremendous. So shout out to Mr. H for that. But you're right, Art. We gotta show both, and we gotta highlight both, and let everybody know there's a lot of paintball.
Yeah. And I think if they have a great experience their first time, they're in the woods, they don't have to be very close quarters, they don't have to be afraid of it, and do it at their own time. You can get in the action if you want. You're going to take a shot. It may be far away, it may be close, whatever, but if they have a good, satisfying kill on somebody, they're going to get hooked. They're going to want to keep playing paintball. So I think it's just more making sure that the people, once we get them into paintball, we got to make sure they have a great time their first time playing paintball, and then they'll be back. That's what right. I think. We can do so much spreading the word of paintball. This is the elite form. This is, I think if you ask anybody, no one's going to say, I don't know what paintball is. Never heard of it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, people kind of know what it is, but they have to have an incentive to be like, okay, there is a field 20 minutes away. Like, let's go check it out on the weekend, and then
get into it.
Hopefully they decide to buy some gear.
Yeah. So you're absolutely right. The player experience is of the utmost importance. And we actually talk about that a lot on PTG, and making sure the fields are, providing that experience. The paintball isn't going to, hurt people where it's super hard and stuff, and they have a fun time. And I think you're right. If they, like me and my son, we're not going to go start playing in a speedball arena. He's 10 years old and he's ready. I just got him. He wears glasses, so I'm working on the UZ glasses, and then I got him some contacts as well, awesome. So that he can have the goggles on comfortably. But we're gonna go out and just play a big game, and I'm just gonna run around with him and he can do whatever he wants and just have a fun time. That's what's gonna make him want to come back. If I throw him into the into this tight quarters thing and he gets run down in his neck, he's gonna be like, all right, Pa, you know.
You need to have Tyler protect him. You gotta be right there. No one's getting past Tyler.
It's like not everybody especially has to be like a crazy like competitive person. You know, you can play paintball and not have to try to be, you know, ranking up and things like that. You know what I mean? Like it's okay for people to go in. And one of the things that was awesome about paintball was just the hobby of like collecting, you know, or not collecting, but the gear, building setups,
being a gearhead
stuff. Exactly. That's a big thing of it. Those, you know, you don't need them necessarily to become the best paintball players in the world.
Of course.
You know, that's not their goal. The people that are naturally inclined to competition and getting better at stuff, they're going to want to go play speedball. You know, I can get better at paintball. It doesn't have to be like that for everybody. That's
true. Absolutely. Right. Yeah.
And I want to highlight too, like my friend, I mean, he's obviously one of my clients, but Pinnacle Paintball, like he doesn't even have an airball field, but like he makes sure to give, it's in New Jersey, but his field is just amazing, like top of the line. But he has like E-Techs that are his rental guns for people. And like all these guys, like it's just top of the line experience. Like, and you give these people that, and you know, like 9 old Tippmann 98, like these people have a better experience for the first time. And then his pro shop has all the new guns and everything. And then a lot of people run out there, like props to HK, they made a super affordable mask too. Like a lot of people walk out there with the HK mask because I think it's like, I believe it's around $30. But like you give somebody a paintball mask, Arthur said about this too. If they leave with a paintball mask, they're coming back.
You're right.
Like, so like you get people to leave with a paintball mask, they're usually coming back to the field. And I think that's a huge thing. You got to get that mask out there.
I can't stress this enough. We've talked about it on lots of shows. We've all addressed it here, but the player experience. If you're a field owner and you're listening to this, please, instead of trying to provide the most affordable experience, make sure that you're not compromising the experience. And what we mean by that is exactly this. If you're renting out markers and selling paint that does not shoot straight or is incredibly hard, not only does the incredibly hard like practice paint or field paint hurt, if it doesn't fly straight, people are not going to enjoy this game. That is the number one thing I've heard from people that have tried paintball, and it's very rare, but when people say I didn't enjoy it, it's because they're like, the gun didn't shoot straight. I got shot in the neck. You know, I saw somebody, wasn't able to hit them. Like it's silly. We cannot provide that type of experience because we will lose those customers forever. You know, you have one chance to capture a customer and you might get a lifelong customer. Provide a little better of an experience. That it's so important that the equipment is workable, you know, and the guns shoot relatively straight and the paint's not breaking in the gun or too hard. That it's so important.
Yeah.
Your business will do better. Your business will do better.
It can be like little things like just, trained referees to have squeegees on them. If you see a guy that's breaking paint, the referee goes in, helps him out, clean his barrel out. You know, the guy runs out of paint, maybe come over with the pod, put a little bit more in there, you know, be like, all right, keep playing. The guy's like, oh, okay, I'm going to go get more paint now. You know what I mean? It's
that's a good idea.
Making them feel like, oh my God, this paintball thing is awesome, man. Like I had a great time. Like that's what it needs.
Those are two great ideas. Art.
I didn't think about the pod thing, like having a rep just keep it on. Then if they have a moment where they're like, oh, like
having people that care about their experiences, you know, I've been to fields and refs are like, get your mask on, like screaming, you know what I mean? Like kids like cowering, you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
You know, like he doesn't know, you know, like just explain to him, you know what I mean? Like people don't realize that you're out of the game. They're still going to shoot at you. You know
I will say on the flip side of that though, I have seen like, especially like at some of the fields, like it does get, I mean, I feel like the refs reach a breaking point too sometimes because like the people do just keep taking it off, and by the 10th or 11th game, and they're still doing it. You are kind of the refs are kind of losing their mind a little bit because like people are just not caring at that point.
Well, I mean, it's absolutely important that everybody keeps their mask on. Yeah,
they signed a waiver.
But I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
Look, if they're not listening to you, I guess it is what it is. They signed a waiver.
Oh boy.
You know, look, the user experience, because I actually lean more towards agreeing with Art than you on this, Nick, because I have seen it also at a lot of fields where it's like from Jump Street, they're like being screamed at, and it's like, whoa, I mean, I just paid you guys $100. I'm just trying to have a good time. Okay, I'll put the mask on. You know, I didn't realize this. Let's not do that. Of course, we want to look out for their safety. Of course, we want to do whatever we can, but there's a line. At some point, some refs are going to break. People break, is what it is. But like, we should be trying again to provide an all around great experience. And I like the core of what Art is saying. Things like having a squeegee just to help out, you know, like, and there are actually a lot of refs that take stuff like that into their own hands, and they care so much. And they do this kind of stuff, you know, and it does make a difference. So
it really does. Yeah, the player experience. Absolutely. And we have some questions in the Discord as well for you guys. So let's kind of head over there. And I want to ask you guys, a typical weekend for you guys is probably just thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for the tremendous support with the PTG show. If you are enjoying these episodes and want to help with the progress and development of this program and connect with like-minded, hungry paintball players, then head on over to ptgpodcast.com, click the orange Patreon link, and become a member of the PTG World Discord chat room. And now back to the show. Tumultuous. It's never ending, like an event weekend. You guys are up at, I'm sure, 5 a.m. You get home at 7 p.m. It's just crazy days.
Absolutely. There's nothing like hearing your hard drive spinning at 11, 12 o'clock at night, still transferring footage, and you're in your hotel bed knowing you have like 4.5 hours until you got to wake up and
oh my God.
And film
that's probably almost every event, I would imagine. Like
it is, and then sometimes you're trying to get to team meetings too. So then you're on a different schedule than the players, because half the time you're trying to get to these meetings. Like most of these guys have gone, eaten, showered. Like you guys sometimes decide, am I going to shower or am I going to this team huddle? And it's not showering after like 12 hours.
Is that why you always smell? Is that why you smelled all last year?
Probably for the most part. Especially, I mean, oh my God. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love you guys on Damage. But when I was with you guys, like it was even rougher, because like after, like, thing is, I'm also filming you guys gear off too. And like, I get these moments after the matches too. But when you guys have the last match of the day, I'm shooting you guys get off. And then it's like, hey, Cucuzza, we're about to leave. Like, I'm like, oh okay. And I'm trying to gear up, and they're just pounding me the whole time on the text messages. I'm like racing.
Cucuzza was in our car the whole time. So Mouse and I were just at some point, we're like, dude, you've done 10 interviews. It's 7 p.m. We gotta go.
No, they're like, we're gonna leave you at the field, Cucuzza. I'm like, you only gave me 5 minutes. I'm trying to get my stuff off. Come on, 5 more minutes. I'll be there.
Arthur tried getting me too. I'm gonna share this story. We were at Legacy. This is for the Road to a Championship, and this was in January. And he's doing all the interviews. Obviously, great production. I'm like, Arthur, please, I'll do any time today. This is at like 4 o'clock in the morning. I told him this. Little hyperbole, sorry. Maybe it was like 8 a.m., but I'm like, just not 4 p.m. because the Buffalo Bills are playing in the playoff game. I just want to watch the Bills game. So I'll do the interview at any time. Wouldn't you know it? Like the day's going on and he keeps coming back and he's pulling other players. I'm like, what the hell? It's like 3:30. I still haven't done it. I'm like, oh man, I'm screwed. Sure enough, it's like 4:02 p.m. He comes up and he's like, are you ready for your interview? I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Oh man. At first I was like, no, I'm not. At first I was like, no, I'm not doing it.
I thought you said only 4 o'clock. Only 4 o'clock.
I said that's the only time I don't want to do it. Oh man. Yeah. But we made it happen. I'm so glad we did.
Oh my God. You remember what happened with us, the shoes. So the shoe adventure about the cleat and my documentary. Yeah. I was actually supposed to, well, you guys, I mean, it was, you and Mouse really wanted to do your interview at the field. And you guys were right. It had a great backdrop. So you guys are like, okay, let's wait till Wednesday, do the interview at the field. And we're like, okay, we're just going to stop to get the cleats. And then we end up on a 3.5 hour cleat journey. And I'm like, shit. And then I start doing an interview with Shure, and I'm halfway through the interview. And Marcel was like, Cucuzza, get the stuff. We got to get our beds. We got to get there to the field first. Get your stuff. We're going. We got to get there. And so they're racing to, so I'm like, no, we got to go, Cucuzza. And just, I had to book it. And I still ended up being able to finish the interviews. I did Shure's interview with a backdrop. And
I think it ended up being better. Yeah, because that backdrop at the house was so sick with the Star Wars stuff.
Oh, yeah. The Star Wars was good. I don't know what I think about I mean, the backyard with the black backdrop was okay, but it was what it was. I just
really liked that. I really liked Mouse's. Yeah, I thought that looked really cool. I did.
Okay, and then yours was good too because it ended up being, luckily since we did it Wednesday, it ended up being Thursday right after you guys won. So I had maybe some sort of extra like content from you on that. And people don't know, like, I mean, even in your documentary, there was a segment you talked about like how much World Cup means or whatever. And I threw that in right before the finals, but you talked about that on Thursday.
Yeah.
And I just snuck it in there to make it work. But like it ended up all kind of working. It ended up working out. But like I was definitely in scramble mode a lot at that event.
What was your favorite moment from filming the Damage documentary? Do you have like a few favorite experiences behind the scenes?
I would say Jacob. I mean, I'm not encouraging Jacob getting hurt, but like I feel like me having that moment with Jacob when he got hurt, like, because I mean, Arthur knows this. We're always trying to get different angles on the field. Had I filmed the Rito side, that whole moment would have never happened. But the fact that I was right behind Jacob, I think I was one of the only people that knew that he got hurt in that moment. And then I was following him off. And I think I related to Jacob in some sense because I always was this type of like, I mean, and I think a lot of people relate to that moment, even on the divisional level, because a lot of people do fight through injuries at these events.
For sure.
I mean, you're a divisional player, you don't have a deep roster, you're one of the best players on the team. You're playing no matter what you feel like. Yeah. So like I would always like hurt my knee. I mean, there was one event, I tore my meniscus, and Arthur knows I played this paintball event and I was just dragging my knee on the field in the snake, like along the snake side with a torn meniscus. And we won that event. But like, there's even one point that event where I'm like running through the middle of the field and I fall face down on my face and somebody just splashed me because my leg gave out and I couldn't get through. But like a lot of people relate to that type of moment. So
yeah.
I think
whatever it takes.
That kid is so tough too, Jacob.
I think that was one of my favorites. Yeah, Jacob's super tough. And I think I don't know what it was about. Obviously, I cut out a lot of that meeting after the first loss in Dallas. But I feel like, I don't know, like I tried to kind of show it. I don't know how well I did. I'm sure I could have even showed more in that meeting after Dallas. But after that first match in Dallas, I feel like that was like a shift for the whole team. I don't know why. I feel like after that first loss, that meeting, I feel like something happened where everybody was like sick of it. And then you guys kind of were on an uphill trend after that. Yeah. So I feel like those two moments are probably two of my favorite moments.
Agreed. Yeah, I think the Dynasty game in the 3-man actually was like a big turning point too, because it was another thing that you're kind of sick of it. You know, it's like how many times, enough is enough. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
Dynasty, they gave us a great, and it sucked. Like I love the Dynasty guys. Like even one part I didn't want to necessarily even put in, like is when Mouse is talking shit with Greenspan. But Greenspan, I mean, what's funny is that like when I was watching the webcast, like they were trying to bait Mouse to do it, and like they were kind of frustrated because Mouse didn't fall into that trap. Exactly. And then Ryan said the thing to him, and then Mouse is like, "What's this old man talking about?" And I'm like, "Oh, I love Greenspan though." So like it hurt me a little bit in that end. Well, I was like, I gotta show this too.
I actually think that it made them both look good. I think like it showed Mouse's passion. That is who he is. And I also think Ryan was just incredibly professional, as he always is too, So it was like, I thought that was a great moment. I don't think it made Ryan look bad. I don't think it made either one of them look bad. I think it was a very cool sports moment. As a fan of the game, it was like, that's what you want to see, like this is good action. I want to see these two play each other every time they play each other,
And Ryan was such a good sport too. Even when Mouse talked shit to him the second time, he's like, I know.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like,
he's like, I know I should be coming at you. Like, you're right. He said, you're right.
Yeah.
I need to come. Like, but Greenspan's probably one of the best sports when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And I know I didn't go into it too much, but I guess the stuff that, you guys asked Art what inspires him. I guess what inspires me is like the players kind of giving me a story or surprising me. And I feel like anytime you could kind of, I'm always wanting an underdog story. Arthur and them know this. I'm always looking for the underdogs to kind of come through. Like I would love to see Collision kind of come through, Uprising, Heat, I would, people are probably questioning Heat. Like, I mean, and as far as you guys, I'd say you guys are two on some of the teams that, are supposed to win, or the teams that are to beat, like you guys are on the top teams. Like your guys' story is that you guys should win, in my opinion. Like, I know I hate to say that, but it is. And I'm glad we filmed your journey of like getting to this point and, had your documentary. Oh yeah, and how do you think Impact took that when I showed the shit talking on the other way? Because I kind of I know I kind of showed that moment when like because they talked about your guys' documentary and their documentary. So I was like, let me show this. Let me just fuel
it's
the
funny.
fire
They were talking shit about us, and it's not like I didn't make the documentary. They're like, yeah, they're making a documentary while they're making a documentary. I was like, that's hilarious. But yeah, it's all funny. It's good. It's good for the sport, man. We need more of it. More of it.
We got to fuel the fire at this point.
That's right.
I mean, if everyone wants to talk shit to each other, we gotta let it happen.
Let's go. Let it
roll. In my
opinion.
Have to.
As far as like the rivalry thing is kind of a crazy mix too, because like we our teams, like pro teams, like practice against each other. A lot of the people in the sport are friends, so it's hard to really get a grudge against a guy and be like, I do not like him, and we're always gonna, you know what I mean? Like to actually have enemies and big rivalries, you know what I mean?
But you got to build the stories, and
there are,
yeah, that's right. And you guys are doing an amazing
find them
job.
and we got to pump them up. And thank you guys if we ask you guys hard questions, for answering them. You know what I mean? And always allowing us to, ask you guys, be around you guys, get in your huddles, ask you all these things. Thank you guys for trusting Nick and I with doing all of that. Inviting us to your house, allowing us to have access to meetings,
everything you guys
like
up.
that.
Yeah.
And yeah, like we're trying to build those rivalries. We're trying not build them, but bring them out in the light. So thank you guys for answering those tough questions when you need to, or when we ask you guys to. And
dude, thank you guys. Honestly,
on the team. So
and I want you guys to continue to surprise us, even if there's other teams, like listening, like like I think one of my favorite pieces Arthur made was his PB Fit documentary. No one was seeing seeing that moment when PB Fit was gonna come out and win World Cup at that moment. So when he was able to make that document, you gave him the story. Like you guys, you gotta surprise us, give us the story. Like we'll try to be there. Sometimes you got to get our attention leading up, but like I'm always like kind of watching Uprising and some of these like lower teams to surprise me because
totally.
I would love it. I love underdog stories. So those are my favorite.
We're always trying to film, if we're not devoted to following Uprising, for example, this tournament and making a video on Uprising, we're always getting enough footage to, in the event that they do very well and win or something, we have the content to show them, and then we can interview them and bring back some of those stories and get a little bit more in depth in it. But we are really trying to cover,
there are 20 teams in the pro division.
Yeah, there's 20 pro teams. So.
Well, I think we're going to have an exciting year. 2026 is going to be amazing. Yeah. Obviously, the first event of the season is kicking off inside of the NFL Tampa Bay Buccaneers Stadium. Can't wait to see you guys there. I know you guys are probably excited for that as well. Going to be some insane shots from inside of that stadium. And for everybody out there, please, let's pack this stadium out. If you got to, walk there, get there. Let's go. Let's get the stadium popping. It's going to be fun. Thursday. What is that? What's the date on that Thursday? The 18th or the 19th.
19th.
I was off.
Yep, the 19th, March 19th, from 8 a.m. till 7 p.m. No, 10 p.m.
Yeah, 10 p.m.
From 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. there will be paintball being played inside of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers NFL Stadium on March 19th. So get out there, have some fun with us. And then I want to jump into, I know we shouted out Verb. He's actually got a question for you guys in the Discord. We'll go with Art. We'll have you answer first, and then Nick. Favorite food and favorite place to eat it. You both also released incredible pieces recently. About how many hours editing would you estimate you put into each one of them? If you want to try to answer that. That's a tough question. I know it's a lot of hours.
Dude, I would say like 300 hours, something like that. Like,
Yeah,
like
it's crazy.
Damn.
48, I don't know, maybe.
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours.
Over 200 hours, I would say.
Yeah. And then favorite
I don't know.
food?
I'm guessing. Over,
Yeah.
because a lot of it's not just like editing. We watch
it's
the
interview
matches.
questions, looking.
We
I
have
try to factor in all
come
that.
up with come up with all the questions.
Well, you know what?
Favorite food.
If you want to think about it, we'll send you the Discord invite links to get you in the chat, and you can maybe answer in the chat. He's got it in there.
All right.
So we'll get you guys in there here shortly.
I'll get back on that. And
Yeah.
favorite food. I mean, I'm a pretty big foodie. I love all kinds of food.
Me too, bro. I'm right there with you.
Favorite food. I can't. Sandwiches. A great sandwich. You know, all right. Give me a great sandwich.
Okay.
All right.
You know,
There you
something
go.
like that.
What kind of sandwich? What's your favorite sandwich? Which one?
Like something like chicken with like grilled chicken with something else on it.
Okay.
Like arugula, some good cheese.
There
I
we
like
go.
crazy stuff. Yeah, I like mustard. I'm all about different sauces. You know, have some kind of unique sauce on there. I love it. I love all food. I'm pretty particular like where I eat because I want to make sure I get the best kind of food, but I'm not picky at all. Like I'll eat anything, but I'm kind of particular.
I love it.
All right. There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
What about you,
Nice.
Verb?
Nick?
What's your favorite food?
Yeah, we gotta. Verb.
We'll ask him
Sound
too,
off.
Yeah.
Oh, well, my favorite food, I mean, it's pizza, but like in Brooklyn, New York, I have L&B Spumoni Gardens. That's probably my favorite pizza for sure. If you haven't been there, they have these awesome squares. Arthur knows about it too.
I went there with Nick's dad. A few months ago, actually.
Yeah, he just goes to New York without me sometimes too. He hits up my dad, goes and stays at my place. I'm like, yeah, just hit him up. It's fun.
I love that.
Stay in my room. It's
it happened one time. I was there actually for a training course for Red for the camera that we operate. One of the cameras that we use for Major League. So
yeah, those are amazing.
They had a good training course advanced kind of training course on that.
And as far as hours on that documentary, I did kind of go through this with Marky from like HK. I feel like for my documentary, it took me around 800 to 1,000. And Marky's just like, I'm going with 1,000 number. And he was like, and that's when he made that little post. Because like I'm trying to factor in like also like all the time I'm spending like doing the interviews, you know, like running through all this footage and everything. Once you add it all up, I mean, I've done that for like 4 months probably.
Yeah.
Like,
even time thinking about it, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's what I mean. And if you put the time thinking about it, it's like almost 24/7. So it's like this thing is occupying my brain for 4 months, no matter what. So really like, I mean, but I do think this, I mean, I've talked about this with Arthur, I mean, with you. I do feel like it was a bit of a risk making a 2-hour documentary. I kind of wanted it. I didn't mean for it to be that long, but you know, it ended up being like that. And I feel like people enjoyed it, but I do think the sweet spot is somewhere around 45 minutes, whether it's a little over or under. You kind of staying around that area.
I told you.
I know, but I also didn't want I want people who watched it to feel the whole thing. If they
would have been left on the hook right before, because the first hour is the whole season. And then if you leave going into World Cup is the whole second part, which is the second hour, people would have been like, I can't wait to watch this in 2 weeks. You know, and you were worried that people wouldn't watch the first part. They would just skip to World Cup, but not.
I knew Arthur's documentary was going to come out too. And I want to make sure both of our documentaries had a fresh look. Like by the time Arthur's documentary was released, like mine had already been out for a couple of weeks. So it was another fresh look on it. Like
I personally though, like for my own, likes and dislikes, I like that it was 2 hours. I really enjoy the long form stuff. I love that I literally was able to kick back in the movie room and just watch for 2 hours, and you know, it was like a full production. So I thought it was cool, and I actually do think a lot of people do appreciate long form stuff, even though everyone always says, oh, it's short form this, short form that. That's just for social media. I think people, that's why the Rogan Show is still the #1 podcast in the world. You know, people do want long form stuff if it's high quality. Low quality stuff, yeah, you want like quick stuff that grabs your attention, and you know, it's meant to be on the phone maybe, but a full production like that, I really think is you nailed it. you nailed it. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
It really kind of, that's one of the challenges, you know, as an editor we face, is trying to condense down a story into a short enough time frame for, you know, paintball players that are really into paintball. They want to see the game breakdowns, things like that. They're not going to mind if it's 2 hours long. They can't get enough of it. Somebody that might not be interested or know about pro paintball and they see it on YouTube or something, they're not going to devote 2 hours necessarily to watch it, but maybe something that's like a 15, 20-minute piece, 10-minute piece would be more something that could get along, resonate better with some of those people. But we're limited to the amount of story we can tell in 10 minutes, right? Like we can't tell an entire, you know, how did Damage win World Cup, you know, and all their matches, you know, in 10 minutes. You know, it's a different formula. You're asking different questions. And really, if we're making something specifically to non-paintball people, we're going to ask questions that are like, you know, more of why do you play? How did you get into pro paintball, and why do you play pro paintball? And we can't rehash, you know, how is paintball played in every documentary that we make, thinking like it's going to have people from outside paintball looking at it, right? Like you have to assume a certain level of people know who Marcelo Margot is, people know who Tyler Herman is already, sometimes before you make it in these ones, you know, whether it's catered to the player or versus catered to somebody completely outside. So we're trying to find a balance of making it interesting for both audiences, essentially, right? Like it's got enough good paintball where it gets into, you know, why did you make that move on Keith and the Snake, versus why didn't you stay in the back, or why didn't you let the time run out, for example, right? Like, so yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can kind of present the game, you know, and formula.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, one thing I want to say, actually, I'm surprised we haven't mentioned his name. I want to give a shout out to Darren Cecina too, because I feel like Darren has been the one who's, you know, brought me out all these events, even after, you know, because I stopped really again. I kind of got out of paintball since 2015 because I went on to do other things and started my own business. But Darren still, you know, made sure I've pretty much almost always came out all these events, always hiring me. You know, I feel like he's always been a mentor in a good sense to both of us in a way. And Arthur, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think kind of the plan he has for this year with us and what we want to do, which maybe we'll make other projects too, but he kind of wants to do maybe 5 Road to Championships. And the first one might be a little bit late because there's a very quick turnaround, I believe, from the first event to the second one. So it might be kind of tough. But I do believe we're going to try to do 5 Road to Championships. And, you know, I might help. Nice. We might like mutually edit on them. But I think, I wonder what you're like. I'm curious. I mean, because I want Darren to listen to this too. I'm curious from your guys' point of view, like what you guys will kind of see, especially if we have that short turnaround time. Because I think our plan is, I mean, I think in Impact, you know, was kind of great seeing, you know, Bart's side with like the golfing and everything. And then also seeing, you know, Billy's side with his family and everything. And then the thing with like in Arthur's documentary with Jason and this whole field segment, like, but when you say like, I feel like it would maybe have the same effect. You got to pick the winning team sometimes, in my opinion, because like it's hard to incorporate both teams in that short time frame. But I do believe you got to pick a person from the winning team that you're going to like show this person's side story and that they were in the, you know, some key moments at the end of that event. And then like we you know, then we have one interview we go do. And I agree. You know, tell the story based, because Darren sent me something like a lot of great documentaries have been made with one great interview. Like sometimes. Yeah. And some of the greatest documentaries have been made with one great interview. So like maybe
one great interview ties the whole thing together.
One great interview and we have good questions to kind of put that story together. And then we can actually do it in 2 different time frames. Because Arthur, I think, had like 6 interviews he went through. I had like 13 different interviews I went through with mine. So like it's a lot of the more interviews you get, it is great because you get a ton of different perspectives. But when I don't know. I'm just wondering from your guys' perspective what you guys would like to see this year from us. And
I
Go
would
Sports.
I would love to see more road to a championship. That should be after every event for sure. And you're right. I think you pick one person from the winning team, and if you could fly to them immediately after the event and do some interviews, it doesn't have to go to the extent of, you know, what the first few did of like going to Bart's business and the golf course that requires a lot of time. But if it's even just interviews in their home, that is very personable. You know, if people are willing to open up their homes, I think a lot of pros would be. But in my opinion, the timeliness of it is what does matter. It needs to be released before people start practicing for the next event, in my opinion, because it's the connecting piece to the fans that draw your attention from that event to the next event. But once you get into the feeling and the preparation for the next event, I think a lot of people shift focus. They don't care about that layout anymore. They don't care about those stories as much anymore. They want to put all of their attention on the new layout, the new stories, the new, you know, what they have to get ready for. And a lot of our consumers are also competitors that are playing in the NXL. Obviously not all of them, but a good portion. And so I think that is really important. The timeliness of it, which I know is very difficult, especially with the manpower. But then, yes, the stories, and picking an individual is a great idea from the winning team. And if you just fly to their place, you know, and do, you know, spend a day with them or half a day, I think that would be enough.
Mm-hmm.
Ty.
Yeah. The documentaries you guys pumped out this last year were top tier. So just keep doing that kind of work. And then I think it also is really advantageous to have the underdog, the person who might not win the tournament, but damn, they're gritty. And damn, do they have a cool story and a lot of heart and passion for the game. And you could see the love of paintball just pouring out of them. I think that that's really important too, because there's one winner. Hooray. Congratulations. That's awesome. You won the tournament. It's the pinnacle of what we do. But there's so many people that go into these events, and most of the time they don't come out victorious. And I think that's really relatable as well. So I think that there's a lot of relatability that could be found in a story like that. And maybe you do follow two players, one that is the gritty up and coming underdog, and you have obviously one of the front runners as a possible champion. But I think that having that relatability of that gritty fight, even though you don't get the dub, they're coming back grittier and stronger and hungrier next time. You know, there's a lot there too.
Tyler is so
that's really. You guys described what we plan on doing in Tampa for this event with, you know, picking two individual players. One of them hopefully is going to become a winner. The other guy, obviously, you know, chances are he's going to be on the other team. So I have a loser, but that is a story in itself. What does the guy that just took second or third or fourth place, what does he do right after the event? You know, is he going to go practice? Yeah. That's what we want to capture. And then it doesn't matter if he wins or not, you know, he's gonna have some kind of feeling after that event. So
also it creates so many new fans for this group that maybe otherwise wouldn't have a ton of fans. Now we're building fans for all of the organizations, because there are people in every organization that I'm a huge fan of. Every single team in the pro circuit, I'm a huge fan of the players on certain.
Ryan Moorhead had a lot of stories. Like I've always followed Heat, and like I had so many awesome moments of Ryan Moorhead, especially after losses. And I was kind of bummed that I never got to, you know, do a story or whatever on it. But then it's also like, you know, I guess like, because we're obviously going to do things with Go Sports, but like it has to, like, I mean, it's one thing, you know, when they bring in Arthur to do, like, you know, Arthur's, you know, on salary and stuff with them. So like, you know, Arthur could do everything. But like sometimes I want to tell those stories, but like it's hard to get people that want to like pay for those stories, because like, you know, like what have these people done stuff. So it's like also trying to get the funding for some of those things too is sometimes you know, difficult, or like because a lot of times you do got to put your resources on the winning team, and that just, I mean, I know it's tough, it's a tough reality, but I think it's kind of true. You do kind of put your resources on the winning team, like, and it's no knock on anybody, but I do think you got to make those choices sometimes.
And like Moorhead's a champion. That dude's a champ. Moorhead. You know,
he's so inspirational. I mean,
for sure.
I think I think another way to execute that, if you can pull it off, doing it after each event to where you follow one winner and one loser, that's like ideal. That would be an incredible buildup. If that's too difficult, another way to execute it is the players that don't win. You're obviously going to have footage of all these different teams throughout the season going into, because there's a huge summer break. So it could be going into the final 2 events or even going into World Cup. You choose, you're like, okay, like Uprising looks like they're on the brink, you know, Infamous looks like they're on the brink. We have all this footage. We're going to fly and do, you know, a few interviews with a few of these players, and you share those stories going into World Cup of these teams that have been right there, you know, on the cusp, haven't won, but could win World Cup. Would be a great addition and kind of build up to the final event or 2 events.
Yeah, like a special, like cup special.
Focusing on the,
But honestly, what you all have been creating is top tier work. So just keep doing what you guys are doing. And everybody in the media gang, we cannot thank you all enough for all the hard work that you all put in. And we want to keep this discussion going. So I'm going to send you guys some links to get you in the chat, in the Discord. And then, yeah, we just want to know how we can continue to support you guys as well as a community.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much.
And if we could, you know, ask the question, you know, what 2 players would you guys want to see in Tampa, you know, going to this event? You know, we were kind of hypothesizing a few different players, you know, like Fedorov had a big move. He's on Hurricanes now, so there's a kind of a big story there, you know, like big superstar there. So Fedorov is one of the guys, you know. Like, so we're trying to pick, you know, you guys have any suggestions? If anybody, you know, you guys really want to see, we'd love to hear it.
I think, you know, Fedorov kind of covers the Russian aspect. I think Russians in sports are just fascinating as an American, because there's been that long-standing rivalry in the Olympics. And so I would say either Malloy, because he's on the Russian team, or Fedorov. I think these are personalities that are easy for people to get sucked into, and they're so good in our game. So I think one of them would be phenomenal. And then you have so many other great options, honestly. Yeah. So
we got to pick a winner. And who do you guys think is going to be a loser?
I'm unfortunately missing the first event. I'm in Europe right now.
Who do you think is going to be a loser?
I'll be to the second one.
Yeah. Cucuzza dropped the documentary and then went on a 3-month European adventure.
No, I'm only here for a month, but we're in Narbonne, France right now.
Beautiful.
Nice. But yeah,
enjoy it, man. Live it up.
Yeah, it ended up working out that it just missed the Tampa event, but is what it is.
I also, real quick, back to Darren. Do you guys know that Darren was the very first, he was my very first Snake player on my very first team? You guys didn't know this?
No.
Yeah, Darren and I were teammates.
I know he played, but
dude, he was so fast. He was so fast. Yeah, and shout out to the Die Kids. You know, it was my first team. We were a 5-man rookie team. Started in 3-man beginner. We won all those events, and I think we picked Darren up when we bumped up to 5-man, and he was like our ringer. He was our superstar. He was a stud. He was so good, man. He was so fast. Yeah, I got a lot of love for Darren. It's awesome to see him, you know, spearheading Go Sports.
Yeah, but where Darren might have been a pro, you know, like
he could have been for sure.
Heart of our sacrifice, right? Like we can't play. Yeah. I would love to be able to be playing in.
Yeah. I would love to bunk you guys.
That is the biggest thing. It's like we can't play. We got to sacrifice. You know, we can't play. So I would absolutely love to be playing there.
But at a certain point, you got to take
me and Tyler versus you two.
No, you guys
we could film that documentary. There'll be a winners and losers.
I think there'll be a 15-minute break on the webcast next event. I think
I've also said to Arthur, I was like, if I did come to the field to like just like film like one more interview with like the Damage guys at the end, I would have wanted as like my gift from the Damage guys, I would have wanted everybody in the team to play me in a one-on-one, and I would bet I would at least every once in a while a squirrel could find a nut. So I know that I would have maybe won. One would have got shot. No one would have appreciated it. But
you already know it's on. It's on.
Take me up on that offer.
I love it. Wait, Joey's listening. Joey's listening. He is going to text your ass.
Well, because I would love to just feel the intensity of you guys, like, because I would be like, no one take me lightly. I want
you can ball.
You guys, I want you guys to feel you guys full pressure on me, and just like
we already know
what that experience is like.
Pause. That was a little weird.
Straight up. Yeah, but I already know you can play. Anybody that started out with the wife beater and the gold chain, we already know you're ready to go.
Oh, I was trying to find the photo. I couldn't find it before this show, but I have a photo of Nick he tanked himself with the cross on and it embedded a gold chain into his skin. Yeah, that's what I was trying to find a photo of because it was like official. Yeah.
All right, we need y'all to drop these photos in the chat as well. I'm sending over the links to you guys right now. And then before we let you go, is there any shout outs or anything that you want to get people excited for? Anything at all that you want to shout out?
Shout out to the entire paintball community for just being freaking awesome. You know, like I met some of my best friends on the team. I mean, not on the team, but through paintball, you know, it's
the team paintball.
Yeah, the team paintball. Exactly. It's like, there's really such like a crazy subculture of paintball, man. Like, you know, it's like such a common denominator too. Like if you see a guy anywhere you are, you realize he's a paintball player. Like, all right, that guy's cool in my book. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't matter.
Sure.
He's a paintball player. All right, you're cool. So it's I don't know how many other sports there really are with like, I don't know, do motocross people like go motocross riding and then be like, all right, guys, let's all go get dinner and you know after the track, you know, or are they talking to each other during the middle of the week like, hey, did you hear about so and so riding for this guy now? Like I don't know how our community is so like close knit. It's very cool and it's like, you know, if you're not in it, like you should be. Because you know, I think a lot of people can find a lot of cool life experiences through paintball, not just the sport, but yeah.
I love
Shout out to everybody. Yeah,
paintball does teach you a lot about life too in general.
Yeah. Oh, and one more thing, I think what's super cool about paintball is like, what other sport do you see? You know, you got a guy that's like, let's say 40 years old, playing paintball, and he's like, all right, man, like we need a 16-year-old snake player. Like I need a 16-year-old on the team. Like what other sport has like a mix of younger guys, middle-aged guys, older guys, completely from different backgrounds? This guy's got a career in sales. This guy's in high school, you know, and they're meeting up on the weekend, going to dinner after, you know, as a team. That is a very, you know, very different thing in sports, I think. So, and
you're right, you can learn so much. Like, it's not every day that I can hang out with a banker or a lawyer or, you know, all these different walks of life that you can learn from as well. Yeah,
and we all get brought in together. So a lot of people get mentors just from their teammates, you know. So
that's right, absolutely.
Yeah. You know, for me, I feel like I also got to shout out the OU paintball team. I feel like if I didn't, you know, end up meeting all these guys at OU, I probably wouldn't have had the same journey, or maybe not had a journey in paintball the way I did. And then also, I feel like I got to shout out to Rob Astamandi, Dirter Rob, because I feel like he taught me everything with the Dirter Reckoning series and all that stuff. Like Rob was really the one who taught me all that. And then later on, you know, I still had mentors like Dan Napoli and like Patrick Spohr later. Like I just met Patrick Spohr more. I mean, I always knew of Patrick, but like I kind of had a personal relationship more the last 5 years. But like having those guys like kind of like guiding the way, like was always awesome. All these guys that have been doing it forever. Like Dan Napoli's still doing it. I'm really he won't give me any teaser of his Iron Kids documentary, but I'm very excited to see what he does with that. And he's been working on it for I don't even know a lot. I'm so excited to see what he does with that.
That's gonna be great. It's gonna be
it's gonna be it's gonna be really good.
Yeah, it's been years. He's been working on it for like at least
year and a half, I think.
2 years.
Year and a half. Yeah.
And it's like a story. It's like this like aura around this whole Iron Kids thing. Like it was even before my time. Like there's a very big aura around the whole thing of the Iron Kids. So like having a story that a lot of people just have heard of, like and not really seen is going to be very, very cool.
Yeah, man.
You actually might be right, Ty. It might be closer to 2 years.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely has.
But he's working his ass off.
Take time. Yeah, it's going to be sick.
Yeah. Actually, Dan actually said something really cool to me because I felt like I had to like cut out certain moments out of like my documentary. Like, I mean, only like you know that part with like Mikey and his kid. I mean, Marky with his like
Caleb.
kid.
Yep.
Yeah, that was like right after the Impact match, and like I was trying so hard to include it, but like it felt too out of place, like right after the Impact match, to try to include that moment and right there, and like I felt guilty about it. So I was telling Mark, I was like, I still have this, and he's like, just use it. He's like, just post it. I was like, okay, let me just finish up and post it. But like Dan said, it's like the art of subtraction. It's not about like, he's like, that's what documentary storytelling is, like it's like what to subtract. It's not necessarily about adding, it's about subtracting. Like his documentary, I believe, is like a little bit over 2 hours. And he's like, I'm debating on what parts aren't gonna work. And they're gonna be extra bonus scenes. But like, he's like, I'm subtracting because you gotta figure out what really fuels your story. Like what moments really make sense for the story.
It's the same
I
in
feel like
writing.
that kind of stuck on me, and that's new. That's kind of new for me.
It's the exact same in writing. You can put a beautiful piece together, and the way it becomes great is you go through and you remove a lot of the stuff that makes people either lose focus or attention. You clean things up. It is the art of subtraction that makes that kind of storytelling, I think, very powerful. So it makes sense. That definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things, a lot of great things that you guys say in your interviews that, unfortunately,
that
we
don't always
include
get
because it would just be too long,
Sure,
So,
of course.
Yeah. There's a lot of great stuff in your guys' interviews that aren't always used.
Well, we can't wait to see what you guys are cooking up this year, man. It's gonna be fun.
yeah, it's gonna be a great year.
Yeah, man.
Good
We can't wait to
season.
see you guys. Yeah, we'll see you in just a matter of days, actually, out there inside the stadium. So you guys
Can't
be
wait.
safe, and we'll get those links sent over and see you in the chat.
Yep. We'll
Awesome.
see you there.
Awesome, guys.
Thank you guys for everything.
All right, guys.
You guys are
Of
killing it with
course.
the show.
Yeah,
Let's
thank
go,
you,
man.
guys.
Hey, team
Appreciate
paintball.
you, boys. Team
All the
paintball,
way.
baby. Let's go.
Yep. See you guys
Later, everybody.
Later, guys.
Peace.
See ya.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to the show. We appreciate your support more than you know. As you guys heard about midway through the episode, if you guys would like to support PTG in any way, you could head over to ptgpaintball.com. You could click the orange Patreon link and sign up at any level and get access to our Discord. The Discord is one of the most phenomenal communities in the game of paintball. We have so many different channels in there. It's great for learning. It's great for connecting, finding teams, selling equipment, whatever it is you want to do in there. We truly have it all. And we hope to see you in there. So again, head over to ptgpaintball.com, click the orange Patreon link, and we will see you in there.